All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. As always, today's sponsor is Authors Unite. And if you want to become a successful author, Authors Unite is the place to go. So head on over to authorsunite.com to check out a free case study that'll teach you how to do exactly that. And now let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today, I have Alex Lombard with us. He is an Instagram expert, just shy of 1 million followers between his two brands, and co-owner of Invigorate, which is a digital marketing agency servicing over 600 brands. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, my man. I'm excited.
Of course, man. Grateful to have you on. So the first one we ask on this show, Alex, is what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Yeah, man. So for me, I always relate to the common story that a lot of people have probably heard before, but it's just kind of the whole idea of like the Chinese bamboo tree, and it just really relates a lot to me. The story really quick is just the fact that you have this Chinese bamboo tree, you go out there and you water it, you cultivate it, you do your thing, for 5 years. And nothing happens, right? So it's basically just putting in all this upfront work every single solitary day for 5 years, and nothing's happening. You don't see any, you're not reaping anything, of the sowing that you're doing. And then, on year 6, the tree grows like 70 feet in 7 weeks or something crazy. And it's a really fascinating story, but it relates to me because throughout my life, I've been an entrepreneur for the last 5.5, going on 6 years now. And it really took, almost 5 years really to start seeing some major successes, in my life, obviously related to finances, money, business, but even just like relationships and, and everything else out there. And so really like the valuable message is that you just seriously don't quit. I know it's cliche. A lot of people say that, but at the end of the day, a lot of people say it because there's some truth to it. It's like if you quit, you're done, you're out. There's nothing, you're never going to achieve what you're trying to achieve. You're never going to accomplish any sort of freedom or, or again, anything that you're going after if you give up, and just knowing that you will face a lot of failures, and it does take a lot of growth to accomplish major things that are worth having, and to keep going at them and to not quit. So for me, that's kind of, little relatable story for all those listening. Again, the first 5 years or so of my life, I was just struggling hard, had to borrow money from the parents at, 24 years old. And, people were like, why don't you get a job and just all that stuff. And, I just stayed true to what I was going after, and then finally started to blow up. So yeah, man.
Absolutely, dude. I couldn't agree more. And I always like tell people that in my opinion, like success comes from just like tons of failures.
Yes.
It is just stumbling upon that. Like you just like keep taking action, and like obviously you get smarter and smarter, and you can strategize more and more. But ultimately, after the strategy, like whatever plan you had, it usually never goes exactly to plan.
Right. No, so true. So true.
So the next one I got for you then is what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So for me, I'm in the world of digital marketing, social media marketing. I got started on Instagram specifically, about 5 years ago. And so I'm really big on honestly what a lot of like Gary Vee talks about, for those that know him, in just the fact that, the people that have the biggest brands online, specifically with social media, they're the ones that are going to make the most money, man, in the next 5 years. That's just the way the world's going. We live in this digital age where the attention is on your phone, right? The attention is on these massive apps that we log into every day, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even just like Google searching, if you're a company with a website, but just all around getting your brand recognized is just so vital for the future, let alone right now. I mean, you can go out there. I mean, that's what I do full time. And obviously we've all seen, the YouTube stars and the people that are, influencers making all this money, and you can absolutely go do that. I do that right now. But even just for the future, the most valuable piece of information I can give people listening to this is, trust me, the ones with the biggest brands on these platforms in the next 5 years seriously will not only make the most money, but will create the biggest impact, to whatever audience they're speaking to. And then a little side note on that too, you can do literally anything, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. don't think for a second that you can't go build a massive empire online with anything. I mean, I don't care if you're a carpenter, if you build houses, or you're a digital entrepreneur like me. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. There's people out there that will relate to you. And so, yeah, man, the biggest piece to sum it up is just branding yourself over these next couple of years.
Mm-hmm. And then, it ties in with my next one, but unless you have other advice. So what's your best piece of overall business advice? So not necessarily industry specific.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good one too, because, again, it relates to, anybody that's trying to accomplish higher levels of success in their business. And to me, it sums up to just networking. I would not be where I'm at today if I didn't go out there and network, if I didn't meet influencers, if I didn't connect with individuals that have a skill set or an ability or a gift in a certain area that I don't. There's just no way, that I'd be where I'm at. It's all about the relationships. It really is. How many people can you become friends with? And that's really how I try to live my life. Whenever I come across somebody new, my goal is always to provide value. And that's one of the best ways you can possibly network, is truly by providing value. Like, what can you do for that person that gets their attention? If they are like an influencer, or even if they're just like a common friend or a mutual friend, just how can you be a good person and kind of win them over, influence them to really like enjoy your presence and want to be with you and work with you. Because everybody's got different skills, everybody's got different gifts. And if you can surround yourself, with other like-minded individuals that dominate in different areas of life, you can go out there and do amazing things. So networking, man, that's the key to it all.
I agree. Relationships are everything.
Yes.
So next one is, if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
So for me, looking back, honestly, I've gone actually back and forth with this, and it's funny because if a lot of, anyone that knows me, if they heard me say this, they'd probably laugh. But to be honest, I probably would go back and I wouldn't have quit my job, my day job, as early as I did. And the reason I say people would laugh is because if you know me, I was always, when I was truly a kid, I was always the kid just looking for a way out. I was always preaching to go do what you love. And, I never really believed in the 9-to-5 system, and I still don't, but the one mistake that I had was I quit so early that I stopped income. I had no cash flow. And what happened was it got me into this negative mindset of like a scarcity mindset. And when you're in that mindset, it's almost impossible to make any sort of money, let alone good money, or accomplish, your dreams, because you're just putting out such a negative vibration, and, you're not doing well, for yourself. And so, for me personally, looking back, I wish I would have saved more. I wish I would have, not quit my job so soon. That way I could have stacked up some money. And when I actually began my journey as an entrepreneur, I wouldn't have been freaking, dead broke, having to borrow from my parents, putting up money on credit cards and all that stuff. Cause again, man, it just really affects your mindset, and mindset's, 80% of the game. So yeah, that's probably what I would do.
I can relate, man. When I decided I was 2 years in school, I read the 4-Hour Work Week, and then I dropped it.
That book will wreck you, man.
Dude, it does, dude. That's so funny. Like, it really does wreck you. Like, I was literally in school, and I knew I didn't want to do really anything a degree was going to get for me. But after reading that book, I was like, whoa. I was like, I can do this, man. I'm done. But yeah, it was same scenario though. I didn't really have anything lined up. I just kind of dropped out, then figured it out afterwards. So
yeah, man. I love it.
A little better.
I love it, man. No, that's same with me, dude. Same with me. Same thing. Just totally bailed on normal life and went all in, and just, got hit pretty hard, but I stuck with it though. So,
so my next one for you then, a little bit down a different path, is, in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
So I love this question, man, because, there's a lot of different people that say a lot of different things. And I actually get this from, Tony Robbins. And actually it's the quote that I love so much, but it's just, he says progress equals happiness, and I really, truly do believe that. I think it's Earl Nightingale from The Strangest Secret that says, that essentially, the person who is chasing after their goal, chasing after a dream, whatever it is, they're the ones that are considered successful, and it kind of goes hand in hand, because I just really do believe that, I kind of live my life in 6 different categories. You have your mental, your physical, your spiritual, your relationships, your social life, and then your business/finances. And to me, if I'm not growing in one or all of those categories on a day-to-day basis, I can feel that negative presence coming in. I can feel, almost like the devil getting in your head, that you're not doing enough, that you're not worth it or whatever. And, and it also, it's like, even just to prove this point that progress equals happiness, if you just go look at, and Tony Robbins does this all the time for those that know him, but if you just go look at some of the world's most, successful people on a monetary standpoint, a lot of them, are really unhappy. And a lot of them, I mean, we see it all the time where these celebrities and artists, it seems like they have everything on the outside, but they just have nothing on the inside. And, they go and they kill themselves or, just things like that. And I've even seen it in my own life where I meet people that are, extremely successful financially, but, they're just trying to find happiness, and it's like, to me, at the end of the day, like when and I know this for myself too, but like when I am doing something where I'm in this creative mindset, whether it's, building a website or, doing a podcast like this, where I feel like I'm giving value or I'm giving something to somebody, or I'm boosting up, whatever it is I'm working on, that's happiness. I'm growing in those different categories that I talked about. And so to me, man, being aligned in all of those areas, specifically spiritual as well, I won't dive into that, but for me, that's huge. So that's kind of where I find happiness comes from.
And then what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
So I would say The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. I absolutely love that book. It was so practical. And, really the biggest thing I took away from it was just this idea of staying consistent. We live in a world where everyone's so fast paced. We have no patience. You want things now. And I struggle with that myself. But if you really do just plant the seed and you stay consistent along your journey of whatever it is you're doing, you will reap the benefits. And he uses the example of the doubling penny. Again, I won't dive into all of it, but essentially if you take a penny and you double it every single day for 31 days, it comes out to over $10 million, which is insane to think about. But if you go do the math, it does. And his whole purpose of it is that, it's just like in life, if you stay consistent and you really work, whatever you're doing every single solitary day, you will again reap those benefits, and they will expand like crazy, and you'll hit that boost, that elevation of, your life. But if you don't, if you go to the gym once, people that are like, the gym's a perfect example too. If you go to the gym 5 days a week for 6 months straight, you're definitely going to see some crazy changes. You're going to see some results. But if you go to the gym 1 day a week for 6 months straight, you're not really going to see a whole lot different, right? Because you're not staying consistent. Or if you go for 1 week and you don't go the next week, and so, but yeah, man, the compound effect is so freaking powerful. And I recommend everybody that listening to this is a sign that you should go read it again, even if you have.
Mm-hmm. And then what is your favorite quote and why?
So favorite quote, like I just said, I used, Tony's, progress equals happiness. I'm going to go back to that, and I, just for the reasons I already explained, I just truly do believe that is so true. You can't, it's hard to be happy when you're not forward thinking, when you don't have a goal, when you're not working towards something, when you don't feel like you're growing. It's like as human beings, your mindset is either growing or dying, right? And it's like, if you're in that dying mindset, you're just going towards physical death even sooner. And if you're in that growing mindset, yeah, we're all going to end up dying physically, at the end of our life. But at least during that journey, you get to live an amazing, abundant life. So the people, this is why I know that we could talk about this in another podcast, but another reason why I'm so like anti like 9 to 5, and even the school system, a lot of it is because they really train you to get into that, like that, almost like zombie mentality where everything's just kind of done for you and you're just told what to do every day. And you really just live for like the TV, or like that next meal. And it's like, you're not taking control of your mind and taking control of your actions. Therefore, you're not growing. And therefore, that's why you see so many just like unhappy people that are just walking around like drifting, you know what I mean? Like don't even know what's going on. And so, yeah, man, progress equals happiness. I couldn't really explain it any better than that.
Yes, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. I think I already know the answer, but I'll let you say where's the best place for our listeners to find you online.
Yeah. We'll go with Instagram on that one. You guys can reach me honestly at Vision Wall. So it's just at Vision Wall, one word. And just shoot me a DM, shoot me an email, whatever you guys want to do, and we'll get connected.
Perfect. Thanks again for coming on, man.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks, Tyler.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.